Okay, look, you know what? Fine. You guys win. For months, this meme of make another Sohei video has haunted my dreams. I see it in the shower. I see it when I'm watching TV. And of course, again, I see it in my dreams. I've made 3 videos on this fat tub of lard because of how poorly Ubisoft has handled them, and thus began the meme of milking Sohei. Okay, look, I don't like what's being implied, but look, I give up. You guys want the 4th Sohei video? Here you go. It only took Ubisoft shifting the entire character again to make me talk about him, so here we go. Sohei has basically been a cripple since birth, but at the same time been one of the most across the entire game, if certain scenarios played out in his favor. This took a very unbalanced and unhealthy turn where Sohei could only really be effective if certain criteria were met, unless you were one of those bums that just zone option selected everything. To that I say, that sucks to suck, doesn't it? Now you have to play the game the way the devs intended. But to anyone who didn't know what happened, Sohei is now fully able to chain lights into heavies and heavies into lights, something almost every hero in this game can already do. So what does this exactly mean for Sohei? That means Sohei can finally confirm gank. That's what I love to see. I love to see more confirm ganking. It's so much. Okay, but seriously, the only way people really got their souls back then was from the guard break soft friend zone. The way this played out was either 2 ways. They either never went for the parry and you lost every fight, or you faced a bunch of happy parry Hito mains and then wreaked havoc on their team for simply just existing. Or again, you just did the boring option select meta because you're a loser and you weren't hugged enough as a child. That being said, Sohei's chain pressure not only increases by having instant access to his unblockables after light attacks, but also gives him a better chance to gain all of his souls without needing to consistently guard break people. But at the same time, having more access to your unblockables makes your guard breaks occur way more often because of how many unblockables you'll be throwing at them, making you really have to think about which moves you actually want to parry against the Sohei. That being said, his damage is still on the low end. The most damage you get is 24 from his zone attack, so landing all 6 hits on someone to gain all your souls still won't happen very often because if your opponent actually hits you 6 times, you're probably just dead on the 5th hit. And the last change Sohei got would be to his zone into zone. Honestly, for a while I was puzzled on why you'd ever want to do 2 zones in a row, but it would make sense. If you zone in a team fight after guard break, the only moves you can do are easily peeled for, aka someone can hit you out of the follow-ups. But now with chain zone to zone, you can be completely interruptible unless they bash you. The thing is, as I'm writing this and playing at the same time, I found very little use for this zone to zone, and honestly trying to use it can feel really janky and weird sometimes. That being said, maybe in the future people will find way more uses for it than right now, but time will tell. So at the end of the day, Sohei's major buffs were more of a keep Sohei in line with the rest of the cast kind of change. And while they are nice, I cannot shake the feeling that there's still plenty of changes this hero still needs. Sohei, in my opinion, is For Honor's biggest problem child. He's a hero that, no matter what, leaves one side extremely frustrated. So the real question is, did this fix Sohei? Yes, and not really. As I said, Sohei is a very big problem for these devs to figure out. They want this hero to feel unique to the rest of the cast, but at the same time, Sohei's differences are so extreme that he can be extremely problematic. And on top of that, you have 2 sides of this community that love his extremism, and the other side that is ready to crucify the entire Ubisoft staff every time they watch a Sohei heal to full, and they couldn't stop it because they just blinked. And look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a real hard time finding out new things on what to say. When you've written video essay after video essay after video essay, you tend to start repeating yourself about the same constant problems. Okay, so what did they fix about Sohei? Well, to understand what they fixed, we need to understand why people weren't enjoying playing him in the first place. A big reason why people didn't like playing Sohei was because of how weird he felt to play compared to the rest of the cast. While some heroes in the game still don't have any ways to chain heavies into lights, literally everybody has the ability to chain lights into heavies. So people trying out Sohei for the first time found him returning to neutral after a single light attack. While at the same time, it was also very hard to get into your finishers because of his inability to chain. Anyone with a trained eye and mind could figure out that if Sohei threw a light attack, the follow-up would have to be a light finisher or a zone, meaning that the first move Sohei would do would often expose Sohei's follow-up attack. And the same would go for heavy attacks. If you were able to block the incoming first heavy, then you could almost interrupt his follow-up heavy finishers unless he chained into his zone attack instead. This ability to chain lights into heavies now gives Sohei a hidden advantage of being less predictable. And I can understand zone to zone being pretty cool. I don't see much use for this move overall. I mean, it kind of helps his mid clear, but still not that much. And again, in team fights, it could be more jank than actual use. But sadly, that's all where the good lies. Sohei is now a lot easier to play than he used to, but I still have an odd feeling that Sohei players aren't going to fully utilize this as often as they think they will. You spent months upon months learning that zone is the only way to chain. I bet some of you Sohei players still outright forget that you can do lights into heavies. If you ask me, balancing a character should be always give and take rules. Just because a character is labeled bad does not mean they aren't annoying. Take Jeff from Marvel Rivals. This character is considered one of the worst healers in the game, but he is so undoubtedly annoying that every time I see a Jeff, I just want to punch through my monitor. And just to clarify, a character being annoying does not innately make them a good character either. Take Gladiator, a character that does kind of struggle, but he is so unbelievably annoying to face that it frustrates you, making you play worse. That doesn't make Gladiator a good character, it makes him a frustrating character. So now we have to talk about Sohei's gimmicks. Sohei's one-shot gimmick is something the character was born with, and not the main focus of this negative part. If Sohei's one-shot never gets adjusted in any way, I don't think I'd really care. Sure, it's annoying to walk on point and then all of a sudden you're back to spectating your teams because you made one mistake, but I digress. What I am genuinely surprised that when Unchained was the way he can get his souls. Now I'm fine with how he gets it off players and 4th Feet giving him all his souls, but the problem lies within Breach, and that being officers and the bug with the fucking ram. No, seriously, I don't understand how this bug is still around. I myself have seen it happen in my games before, but thankfully the person was on my team bug abusing, and I didn't have to deal with that garbage. But seriously, this needs to be fixed. And in all honesty, an NPC that can't counter guard break at all should also not generate any souls. And tier 2, I think we all saw this coming, but we're gonna go once again. This feat is stupid, borderline bullshit. Okay, it's supposed to resemble Benki, the hero the Sohei is based off, and how he survived a long time in his fights, but Benki in real life didn't just go home, and then 300 milliseconds later, he's just completely fine. Seeing a Sohei walk towards you with full souls is like a toddler in front of a car. You're just kind of dead after a single mistake. The problem being that if you do go the entire fight without making one mistake, Sohei's just gonna full heal after he's put you in any form of hit stun. There is no move fast enough to interrupt this full heal, and you solely have to predict that he's gonna use it a whole second before he's done it. If there's a single thing in this world that needs to be changed on him now, it is that goddamn tier 2 feat. If you want to keep the identity of full heal, it is completely fine, but an instantaneous press of a button should not bring you to full health before I can call you a bitch for using it. It is not about stripping a hero of its uniqueness, it's about making his uniqueness balanced and fun to play against. I've said it in the last video, but to keep the identity of the full heal, make it a heal over time that can be interrupted, kind of like in this example I will show you right now. But as always, those are only my opinions. Let me know your experience with Sohei and how he's been to fight against. And as always, I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day.
I have decided by a royal decree you are no longer allowed to play the game. Oh, he ran away.
Oh my god, I stabbed him in the cock. Oh.